Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. And today we are, as always, zombie hunting. So I wanted to talk about this. I I knew that he was somebody I was going to be revisiting quite often. He is the stalker version of William. No, I'm just kidding. I use The Last of Us Zombies, as you guys know. I talk about the toxic ritualistic, which is what I call E fall by the letter D on this channel for the sake of YouTube. So I will sometimes say the TR for short. But basically, I like to use The Last of Us Zombies to describe how bad somebody is. He's a level 2. So he has a problem, but it's mild. So he's kind of in that, like, I know everything. I'm smarter than everybody. I don't have to consider your opinion. It's like very much like that. So stalkers use a lot of like pseudo logic, pseudo intellectual argumentation, and things like that. And they're usually just trying to hide their problem. And that's pretty much it. It's not like in the show, the stalkers are kind of like this, like they kind of like go around like that, and they have strategy. So it's like a person's brain isn't completely fried when they're a stalker, so he doesn't sound totally crazy, but he still is. They still are within the TR. The level 1 zombies, they're not in it. They're like subclinical, or they're like overly empathetic or something like that. Or like, you know, a Death Eater, basically. Like there's different types of people that are class 1, or not class 1. Oh my god, I'm getting all my terms mixed up. That are level 1 zombie. He's level 2, so he has the problem. He is within E fall by letter D. I would say bingo for sure. But bingo being E instead of the O, okay? Gosh, there's so many coded terms. I am so sorry. I know it is so annoying, but that's what we're dealing with YouTube. So we have to do what we have to do. I hope you can follow. I really do. I really, really do. I'm doing the best I can with what I have. Let's go ahead and get started.
I've been getting loads of comments recently about, I guess, people telling me how I'm dieting wrong and that I just don't know science. There's something maybe thin people don't understand about a fat person's experience is that fat people know more about diets than you do. Always. I've never met a fat person who didn't know about diets, who didn't know all of the things, all of the ideas, all of the thoughts, the calorie deficit, the movement, whatever, the paleo, cutting carbs, special K of it all. We know it's the only thing that every fat person has in common. Then what you maybe don't understand about people with fat liberation kind of lens is that we also know all the reasons those don't work. We know all of the reasons that's not factually correct. We know that it isn't as simple as calories in versus calories out. We know that. We've done a lot of reading. We've done a lot of speaking to people that we trust. We've listened to a lot of podcasts. A lot of podcasts. There's a lot of science to diets and why they don't work. There's a lot of myth busting. So we know all of the points that someone's going to make. I have never, ever heard a thin person talking about something to do with diet that I'd not heard before, ever, ever. And that's not just me. That is a universal fat experience. If a fat person, you're telling them about a diet thing and they go, "Oh, really?" They're lying. So when a thin person comes onto my page and tells me something about a diet that they think I don't know, they are mistaken. So we can't get into like a debate or, I'm not going to learn anything from you because
You
I
know it
already
all.
have all
Mm-hmm.
of the knowledge you have around food and exercise and weight stigma and fat phobia and how fat bodies are. I already have all of that. And I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. but there's also a lot of medicalized fat phobia in doctors too. So in the medical industry too. So we're not coming at it from the same point of view, and it's a waste of my time. This one precious life I have to like educate someone in bad faith who doesn't really care,
Okay.
who doesn't really want to learn anything new. They just want to assume some sort of superiority, moral or intellectual, that I just
Projection.
don't recognize. I'm not impressed by. I don't really care. So thank you so much, but also leave me alone. Am I wrong, fat people? Like, am I wrong? I don't think I am.
You
I think
are.
it's pretty universal. But like, tell me. I do enjoy validation. I think
Oh gosh, don't you? Okay. Ooh, that was hard to get through. I didn't realize how bad it was. I don't think I listened to the whole thing before I chose to react. But you can kind of see the lecturiness. That's what I'm talking about. So he's mild. Like, I wish he would turn it around before it gets worse. Because it can. You know, what's starting out as mildly delusional can become insanely delusional with enough time and with enough triggering. So it's a risky position to be in whenever somebody's there. And I always advocate for getting out of the TR as fast as you can. Wherever you're at, you leave it now. You know, I do not support it whatsoever. And that goes across the spectrum. Absolutely. You leave it now, period. So, when it comes to this sentiment, he's very much just trying to shut down conversation. So this is just a way to, leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone, which that can kind of like come across as more sane to a lot of people. People can be like, well, we should leave people alone, and da da da. To me, it's like, I get that. I understand, but it's also like, he's not leaving us alone. Like, I'm going to say that back to you. I'm going to say, leave us alone. We don't need your takes then. If you don't want any feedback, then you don't need to say anything either, right? People can say feedback to me if they wanted to. I would listen to it or I wouldn't, depending. But, depending on what I felt like. But people can like me or dislike me or whatever. I'm very transparent about being an activist and that kind of thing. So it's like, I've had people over the years be like, you're trying to tell me what to think. I'm like, I am. I'm an activist. Like, it's kind of in the job, As Taylor would say, that's the life of a showgirl, That's the life of an activist. So it's like, yeah, uh-huh. But if you don't want people to say these things, I would suggest maybe shutting up then. I know that's a little harsh, but I just have to be real. Because as long as you're saying stuff like this, then I'm going to have to say something back. And other people are going to have to say something back. Because you're not just keeping it to yourself, which, again, I'm not about like the TR whatsoever. But I think even at mild levels, people can't help but try to spread it or which you don't really spread it in the traditional sense or like in how they act. Like, they act like that's the way it is with the reductive. They're like, if you say anything or if you show anybody anything ever, then they're going to develop a reductive, E followed by letter D. And that's not true. They always come down to, typically always, I would say, it comes down to deep physical stress or trauma or both. Trauma obviously will escalate things. It can be quick. You can like not have a problem at all, and then all of a sudden you have a problem, right? Stress, it usually takes longer and it's usually more mild. But if your body is like very physically stressed and you have a predisposition to this, and what I mean by deeply physically stressed is like you're not really sleeping, you're not really having stable access to food, or it's like not within, it gets not by choice, basically. So something like poverty could be triggering of an issue. The stress of like overworking and stuff like that could trigger something in somebody. I'm just trying to say, like, you don't have to have this like super dark past to develop an issue, but there usually is, what I see commonly is like people in university like being spread too thin and drinking a lot, going out all the time, partying, working, going to school, like doing all of that at the same time. It's a lot. I think it, you know, or if you have like an 80-hour work week or something, it's a lot. And people just don't think about like how that can affect you. You know what I mean? It's not like it's an automatic thing. It's, you kind of just like, that's where you kind of slowly slip into it, kind of because of that. Because when you stress your body out that much, it changes you a bit. So I wonder if something like that happened to him. Maybe it's more mild, or maybe it's just like work stress, or I know he's trying to be a comedian and it doesn't seem like it's working out. So I could definitely see the kind of starving artist trope push somebody into an issue, and he's just diving in, apparently. But I don't know. Maybe he already was like that when he was younger. But I think it would exacerbate it. I've seen, there's this other singer, I'm just going to call him out by name because I'm mean. His name is Ryan Nealon. If Lexi's watching, she's going to die that I just said that again. But if you look him up on Instagram, he's an example of that, where he has an issue for sure. And he like literally like has fluctuations in size depending on if he's on tour or not. I don't know why I follow him so much. Well, actually, I do know. It's because he... Okay, I don't need to get into why, but whatever. If I react to him, I think I do have a video for members on him. And I think I'd spilled the tea over there. But basically, you can see that in the artist space a lot because it's stressful. And it's at the very least like exacerbating, if I know how to say that word right, of the issue. So I think it is a trigger for him, basically, or it's something that is making it worse. So he's literally coming on here and talking about it. So I try to like, when I react to these people, I'm trying to look at the whole picture. And I understand that stress can definitely make it hard to weight normalize. And stress can be a toxic ritualistic drive, but it's still bad for you. I was the girly pop that I worked extremely hard in 2018 and 19. Like I went from being a complete loser to having my own place and like completely getting all my shit together. And I had like, a more traditional corporate work life. And it was just that way of living. And I wasn't even thinking about doing YouTube at the time. Like I was like, I'm just going to have like a nice quiet life kind of vibe. Like I struggled a lot with YouTube when I was younger because I wanted to, but I also didn't because it's hard. And I'm introverted. So I'm like, I'm at a disadvantage, So I kind of did that. Of course, I had a horrible job at a call center. So I had to talk to people all the time and it was awful. And I think it prepared me for this, to be honest. But anyways, the point is, I worked extremely hard in those 2 years. And I went from being a loser to having a complete, stable living situation on my own. So being totally independent. And there was help in that and all that stuff. And there was struggle. But it was extremely stressful. And guess what this girly pop's attitude was? Can you guess? Oh, I'll focus on the weight later. It doesn't matter. I'll do it later. I'm fine. I was like, I'm young, whatever, I'm fine. I'll try to get it under control. And I was cycling a bit. As you do, as one does, as things get worse, right? It's like it was getting better and worse at the same time. It was really weird. 2019, I will always call my false recovery year because it was like I had my shit together. I had downsized by quite a bit, and I really believed I was getting out of it. I really, really did. And then 2020 came and it kicked me in the ass and it showed me you are not fucking out of this, bitch. Like, not even. And I wasn't, anyways. It was like delusional. But the point is, I understand the mindset. The mindset is I can deal with my body later, but later never comes. And so what happened to me? My health collapsed in 2020. Very suddenly. I thought I was fine. And there were force shocks and there were warning signs and there's all those things, but you just keep going. You just keep going. Because you just blast through. And I was severe, I will say that. So he could probably go a longer time if he stays mild. But it will still come. You have to prioritize your body even if you're in the struggle, even if you're in the hustle. It's not appropriate to not take care of your body. It undermines your hustle, actually. It undermines what you're trying to do. And it's very bad for you. And I don't care if you're talking to Anna, Mia, or Bingo. I don't give a fuck about it. I really don't. It's not good for you. And if it's mild, you get the fuck out of it when it's mild. You don't want it to become severe. I was already severe by those years, you know. So I was already on a highway to hell, basically. I don't know what else to say, but I was extremely stressed. And that is one of the hardest things of breaking the TR is separating stress from it, which luckily I was able to do because by 2021, I still wasn't doing it at all. And I was extremely fucking stressed in 2021 and 2022. And I was impoverished. And I was like, oh my God. Basically, it was horrible. In 2023, I also was impoverished too. But it was a little bit better that year because I had more support. But 22 was like, oh my fucking God. It was really hard. It was scary. Very scary financially, very scary. So it was hella stressful is my point. Like it was like I'm crying in the middle of the night over inflation levels. You know, like I'm having like financial terror. And I still stayed away from the TR because it was like, and if I hadn't have, I don't think I would have made it. So I just want you to understand, like, stress is not an excuse. It's not. And I've been there. And I guess I'm the thin person that doesn't know what I'm talking about or whatever. But it's not an excuse. Okay? Now let's break it down piece by piece.
Getting loads of comments recently about, I guess, people telling me how I'm dieting wrong and that I just don't know science. There's something maybe thin people don't understand about a fat person's experience is that fat people know more about diets than you do.
So they know the words, they know the talking points, they know the performance of health, but do they really know the integration, execution? You know, there's a difference between the mind and body. And there is a lot of mind-body disconnect, I think, within the TR in general, for sure. Or maybe not, I don't know. At least within Bingo, there massively is one. From what I know about the reductive, I mean, there has to be at least somewhat of mind-body disconnect because it's awful. They're all awful, but I think it's like with the reductive, I feel like you lose like a perception. Like oftentimes people will lose a self-perception within that, but others not, you know, so it depends. But within Bingo, there is such a huge mind-body disconnect, but it's I always talk about it as it's so in the head. You know, I think the other ones, because there can sometimes be like exercising, you know, it kind of still keeps you a little bit in the body. And again, we're talking from the bar is in hell, okay? Like we're talking zombie comparisons here. I think if you compare to a normal person, you're just crazy regardless of what's going on. But within bingo, it's like a complete lack of bodily acknowledgement, like complete zero, especially at severe levels, which again, he's not quite there, but I can tell you where you go, where you will go, where it will take you, sir. I can tell you where it will take you. But yeah, I think for him it's like just beginning, right? So it's not like me where it's like I literally was completely dissociated from my body until I got out of the TR, which I'm sure there's some elements of that within the severe, you know, the other types at severe levels. But he's at this point where it's like he can't tell the difference between an idea and an execution of an idea. And that's where it starts. So if he read about the diet, or if he tried it for a day, then he knows about it. Then he experienced it. But see how shallow that is? It's very shallow. Or maybe he experienced it for a while, but it was never enough to actually succeed at it, which he would say, well, it's because it was a bad diet. Well, maybe it was. Maybe. But that's kind of the bingo conundrum, right? It's like, is this a bad diet, or is this, or am I not doing it right? And it's so hard to tell when you're in it. It's literally like, it's like you're like walking into something totally blind. Like, and that's usually the first thing that goes, because you start to kind of delude yourself too. Where when you try to be on plan, you're overly reductive, and people don't believe that, because they're like, but you're big. And it's like, yeah, but you can be overly reductive for a short time. Even if you're like huge, like I was doing that for like sometimes 6 months. But then it would be followed by 6 months of playing bingo, you know? So it all balances out. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, peeps. I always tell y'all, like, I never had any of the other ones. I didn't. You know, there was a moment in the summer of 2019 where I was like, I was getting so reductive. I was like flirting with talking to Mia a little bit, but it never was there. And the weight came back, and that's bingo, babe. Every time. So when I hear somebody say like diets always fail, blah blah, I'm like, that person has bingo. That person has bingo. Because it's kind of like you're just admitting it, you know? I think. Unless if it's like a William or something, and it's like you're just saying a talking point, which I don't feel like he's that bad. I don't think this is like purely a talking point. This is like something that he's like, I came to this conclusion, which it's a common conclusion.
Always. I've never met a fat person who didn't know about diets, who didn't know all of the things, all of the ideas, all of the thoughts, the calorie deficit, the movement, whatever, the paleo, cutting carbs.
I have a whole video on my channel where it's in the description. It says like my toxic ritualistic past or history or something like that. And I did like a short, because I did like my own fat acceptance TikTok. And I used like the Taylor Swift Eras Tour introduction, and I did like cheesy dances and stuff to it. And I did it to show like the different years, the different eras. That's why I called it the SMO Eras Tour, the Super Morbidly Obese Eras Tour, because a lot of people that are that big, they've tried different things. So you have eras. So when you're that big, you think of it that way. That's why it worked. It worked. Because it was funny to be able to put the diet to the year that her album came out, you know? It's kind of funny to me. It's funny, it's dark, it's kind of sad actually, but I did that to show like I know what that's like. So I do know what he's talking about. But it's like, are you doing it, or are you like just using it for the problem. And oftentimes you're just using it for the problem. You're using it to fuel a game of bingo. So you want a game of bingo later. And it's hard to sustain unless if you have a time of reduction. So that's why you're doing it. And then you get like all the dopamine receptors and everything lights up when you're like, I'm going to start a new one. I have all these ideas. I'm going to write it all out. I'm going to do a vision board. I remember there was this Weight Watchers one where it was like, draw yourself thin. And I don't know why, but that was so horrible. I think I like broke down crying when I did that. I was too young, probably, but no, I don't even think I was that young. I think I was like 19. Anyways, I'm on like another wavelength tonight. I really am. He's taking me to a lot of places with this one. But yeah, I mean, that's very bingo-y, you know? You always got the vision board, but it doesn't ever quite materialize, and it's by design. Like, I want you to understand that you're doing that by design. It's because you want to fail. So, because the failure becomes the next reason to play bingo. So it's like a construct. It's fake. But they know it's fake, so then they're like, well, then I'm going to stop doing any reductiveness at all. And it's like, but that's not the answer either, because then what tends to happen? Then you become obsessed with how you look. Then you become obsessed with your body. Then you become obsessed with being fat, which look at him. He stopped the diets. Now he's talking about how he's fat all the time. Then you're going to start turning into a clicker. It's going to keep getting worse, because then you're going to way overly identify with it. And that's clickerdom. That's stage 3 zombie. That's when it becomes severe. You still have, your career and everything. It's not totally based around your weight. You still can somewhat differentiate yourself from your fatness. But that divide will go away. Because if you get rid of the reductiveness within bingo, but you don't do anything else, then you're going to obsess with how you look. But you think it's okay because, well, I'm fat, so I can't be too vain, or I can't be too self-obsessed because I'm told I shouldn't feel this way I'm told I shouldn't like the way I look. So if I do, then I'm actually healing. No, you're not. You're competing within a toxic ritualistic mindset. I see people that are talking to Anna, they also compete in recovery within a toxic ritualistic mindset. It's like, well, when I see bigger people, I don't get disgusted at all. Like, I've seen that. It's like, I'm not fat phobic at all anymore. I'm fine. And it's like, you're competing within a zombie brain. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, you're still in it. Like, what's recovery is like, I don't have to compete with anybody over this. Or I don't have to evaluate anybody over this. I'm my own person. Or it's like, a real recovery is like, I need to work on my own self-perception. And I don't need to worry about what other people are doing as much. That's recovery. Or like within bingo, it's like another great person who's recovering from bingo is Shay Grounded on Instagram. She has a beautiful mindset and she's getting there. Absolutely. And she's like, it's like within bingo, you have this realization that like I think you start to realize that you're not, that this sense of indulgence, it's not actually you being kind to yourself. It's actually like much darker than that. And you start to think, okay, like, it's like, I think it's probably true of all the TR, but you have this moment where it's like, I should go easier on myself a little bit. maybe I need to lay off a bit, because it's I can feel, it's like you start to like feel what it's doing to you, and you're like, I can't do this anymore. Or it's like I'm doing this to get energy, or I'm doing this for something, and it's like it's not getting me anywhere. That's how you'll see it too within bingo. It's like, I feel like I need to do this because it's keeping me going, but you realize it's not keeping you going anymore. And you start to see like it's actually worse. Like I'm like, oh, this is actually not great, you know? So I'm sure that there's elements of that in the other ones too, but like a bingo person, a common flex is they'll be like, I don't care, like we can eat whatever around me. That's like a huge bingo flex. So a recovered bingo person, if they were saying that, it's like saying like, well, I'm super strict and I'm only gonna do this, I'm only gonna do that, and you can't have that around me because I'm doing this and and you have to like be strong with me. That's still not, you're not quite there, you know? What it, a more recovered version is, I know that this isn't good for me, so I'm not going to have it because I have this health condition, so it's physically based. We love a physical based reason for avoiding something, and it's just not great for me at this time. Maybe my digestion is trash from the TR, maybe I got other issues, but I'm just not going to stick with it. So that's even more recovered. Then when you're even more recovered, then it's like you don't even have to talk about it anymore. Like a lot of you guys probably don't even know I don't have gluten. I just still talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So that's even more recovered because you're not trying to compete at all. It's like you're not trying to, you get what I'm saying? Anyways, let's continue.
Carbs, special K of it all, we know it's the only thing that every fat person has in common. Then what you maybe don't understand about people with fat liberation,
It's not every fat person, because not every single fat person was in the TR. So it depends on your definition of fat.
is that we also know all the reasons those don't work. We know all of the reasons that's not factually correct. We know that it isn't as simple as calories in versus calories out. We know that. We've done a lot of reading.
Sure, I agree. It's not as simple as calories in, calories out, because you have to consider nutrition. But a lot of times people within bingo, they say that, but they're just like, there's no answer. So they say it's calories in, calories out, but it's not that simple. So there's nothing to do about it. No, that's pretty simplistic too, isn't it? That's not intelligent. No, nutrition matters. And a lot of fitness Instagram people and stuff, they really act like nutrition doesn't matter. That's why I brought up the point of the diet culture vampire, because avoiding iron is super common within vanity downsizing, because iron rich foods can sometimes be more calorically dense, and or it's just like they ignore it, because like you could have clams and those are pretty low cal, but it's like you never see them talk about that. You know what I mean? It's like you don't see it ever. It's like never talked about. So there's never any like nutritional awareness. It's just like the food just has to look healthy, and it's like, okay, like no. But that's not a TR issue. That's like it's like a flop. It's like a detail lapse. You know, they like to conflate the TR with diet culture, but it's not the same thing. They're two separate things. So that's what that is. It's kind of like gimmicky, or like you could take a nice picture on Instagram of like your salad or something, but there still is like, you're not getting electrolytes, like you're not getting calcium, you're not getting iron, you're not getting zinc, right? You're not getting these things, and you're just talking to somebody who's trying to downsize by like 5 pounds, not 100. You know, like I try to tell y'all, if you're losing a lot, it's, you gotta, like, you're probably gonna become anemic, you know, or it's like gonna be extremely hard to ignore that, because it's hard to get enough iron in. So you're probably going to have to do a supplementation. It's very common. Look it up. Same thing with zinc. It's very common. You know, I had to take iron, then I took zinc. And it takes months, babe. It's not no cute little moment. I took iron for 6 months. I took zinc for 3. And then now I'm just trying to have a lot of very high copper foods to balance out my zinc supplementation. And then I'm done, finally. But people don't think about those details, and you need to. Okay?
We've done a lot of speaking to people that we trust. We've listened to a lot of podcasts.
Okay. 1 second. Okay.
There's a lot of science to diets and why they don't work. There's a lot of
It's not great.
myth busting. So we know all of the points that someone's going to make. I have never, ever heard a thin person talking about something to do with diet that I'd not heard before, ever.
Okay, well, things change. Something new happens every day. I don't know. I don't really know what the point of this is. It's probably just one of those like subtle flexes, you know. But it's also like I've tried it all and nothing works. It's very much that. So it's like, all right.
Ever. And that's not just me. That is a universal fat experience. If a fat person, you're telling them about a diet thing and they go, oh, really? They're lying. So when a thin person comes onto my page and tells me something about...
I think a lot of times people will say, oh, really? But they're like, I don't have the discipline to do that. That's like the first thought they have. Or it's like, that wouldn't be sustainable for me, or I couldn't do it. It's a lot of I couldn't do it. That's like the first thing somebody usually thinks when you tell them something. And or they'll be like, I'll try, but then it just doesn't work for some reason. Or it, you know, it could be too successful or something like that. And then it's like, oh, I have to stop because something bad happened. So don't look over here, right? It can turn into that too. So there's a lot to it. But obviously, like if you can't tolerate something, then that's just not gonna work out, you know. Like for me, I could not tolerate keto very well. Like I did it. I was dedicated to it. I was extremely strict with it, but I felt horrible the entire time I was on keto. I'm sorry, Robin, if you're watching, but I did. I felt awful. Like truly hellish. And it's not like I feel amazing with everything that I've done. You know, I think some of it probably was like it was too much. But it's also like the diet itself, I just didn't feel good on it. I just didn't, you know, and I think that there are genetic differences, and I definitely enjoy fat, but I also enjoy carb, and my body likes to have both. You know, I remember the first time I realized I could have both, because I was always like switching from high carb to low carb to high carb to low carb. Like I kept switching, and it's like I just wanted to have fucking both of them, and I just did it, and it worked. And it's like, you know, so I very much am an advocate for like intuitive eating with macros. Not as much with calories, but macros, yes. I do believe in that because people do better on different things. And so you have to like get in touch with your body. And your hunger, it is valid if it's physical. So if it's physical or if there's something going on, it's like you do have to acknowledge it. That's a thing. Like I did not do this by ignoring hunger. I didn't do that. I always honored my hunger. But it has to do a lot with nutrient profiles and your personal macro balance that works for you. So that's why I don't advocate for a specific position. I just don't, because I can understand how things work. And sometimes different things can work at different sizes. There's just a lot of stuff. It's very complicated. So again, just make sure you're not overly reductive. And don't you dare play bingo. And you do need to weight normalize. So if those conditions are being met, you're golden. And you got to keep nutrition in mind, though. You got to keep nutrition in mind. That too.
About a diet that they think I don't know, they are mistaken. So we can't get into like a debate or, I'm not going to learn anything from you because I already have all of the knowledge you have around food and
Okay, well,
exercise and
what
weight.
can you learn from your own experience then? Or what can you learn from what you've tried? I just don't think, it sounds kind of cheesy, but it's like if you wanted to, you would. It's basically what it is. If you wanted to, you would. You would synthesize everything that you've learned if you knew so much. If you had so much practical experience, then you'd say, okay, well, this worked from this, and this didn't work from that, and that worked from this too, so I'll combine those two. And you can make a plan. I mean, you can make your own strategy. It's so important to make your own personalized plan, or your own personalized thing. I think it's so important. Because even like two people doing keto, they're going to prefer different things. Some might prefer a more dairy-based keto. Some might prefer like coconut fat. You have to like figure out what works for you. And I don't think we talk about that enough. I think we're often just, especially in the past, I don't know if it's still that way in England, but you kind of just like shout a diet at somebody and say to try it. I don't really agree with that. I think it's fine to share how you're eating and people can incorporate things. Like I might incorporate some carnivore recipes. I don't see myself going carnivore, but it's like I might make some pancakes that are made just basically out of eggs and see how that tastes, or like I might do something like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like have that nuance for yourself and don't police what everybody else is doing all the time. It's like you really don't have enough effort to tell other people what to do when you're actually doing it. Like you'll notice that, But sharing your journey, I think is fine. I think it's totally fine because sometimes it can be that light bulb for somebody. They can be like, gosh, that worked for me. Or, that might work. And it's like, I don't think there's a problem with that, Like for, like also too, like a lot of vegan stuff is very low cal. You could work that in, For some people, it might be a good strategy to avoid animal products for one meal out of the day or something. It might work for you. Other people, they'll get really hungry, but maybe you won't, but you don't necessarily have to go full-blown vegan. Like, all I'm saying is it's like you don't have to like go all in to something like that. You really don't. There's not a price for that. And like I understand with veganism there's like an ethical thing, so that's a little bit different, but be very careful because that can be a TR thing too. You have to be careful of that. But I'm not saying everybody that's a vegan is. I'm just saying it can be really reinforcing, and I've seen that too many times, and I know a lot of y'all have too. But the point is, you have to like make your own plan. You're going to have to do some work. I believe your name is Martin. You're going to have to do some work, Martin. You're going to have to think. You're going to have to plan. You're going to have to implement. I could talk about different diets. I've tried so many of them. I have. I could talk about every single one, basically. I know a lot about them. I could tell you pros and cons of all of them, basically. But does it really matter? No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. I can tell you what I did, and that can help you, or it could not. It might not relate at all. I think if Robin tried my diet, I think she'd be starving. Oh, I can't even say that. Gosh, I'm gonna have to edit that. I think she'd be very hungry. So, but it doesn't mean that she couldn't try something occasionally or whatever. It's like, I'm sure she could survive having a protein yogurt one time. I'm very basic. I could survive a fat bomb that she made. I think it'd be fine. But it's like, people need to chill the fuck out. Like, honestly, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
Weight stigma and fat phobia and how fat bodies are. I already have all of that. And I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. But there's also a lot of medicalized fat phobia in doctors too. So in the medical.
Okay, so what is your solution for that? You're just gonna say it.
Industry too. So we're not coming at it from the same point of view, and it's a waste of my time.
Okay, so it's like he's just saying that and there's nothing there. That's like an activistic flop. It's like, let me just say this and then have no message or answer at all. It's like, okay.
Precious life I have to like educate someone in bad faith who doesn't really care.
Okay, then why are you doing this? I laughed at that because I'm like, then why are you even talking about it? Like, I mean, I don't care that he's a shitty activist. I don't care. But it's like, for me to hear that, it's like, oh, please. Please. Like, I always have to do that. Like, are you always, like, how do you change anything? It's like, or how do you have to. I don't know. It's like, it's such a defeatist mindset. It's like, it's already spreading from the weight aspect to other areas. You better watch out. You're going to become a clicker, Martin. I see some warning signs.
Learn anything new. They just want to.
Like, if he would have just said, I don't want to, that wouldn't have been anything. But to be like, there's no point. There's no da-da-da. It's like, okay, well, how long until there's no point in pursuing your dream then? How long until there's no point in this? There's no point in that, you see? It's like, it's a bad precedent. Very bingo-y.
Some sort of superiority, moral or intellectual, that I just don't recognize. I'm not impressed by. I don't really care.
Okay, and I'm not impressed by you either, so I don't know. I mean, you can say that, but if you don't have the authority to say it, or like if you don't have any credibility, but I think that's his problem. He's trying to like dip his toe into activism, but not actually be one, and it's like, that's tricky. It's like a little risky. So that's kind of my thought on it. It's like, you can have opinions and stuff, but like, this take is bad, or it's very simplistic, and it's very like, it's bad activism. Like, I'm just gonna say that. Like, that's one of the things I love about Angelica's channel, is she's really good at activism, and you don't even know that she's doing it. She's that great. She's really good at it, but she's done it for years. So it's like whenever I reacted to Angelica, I'm like, oh my God, she did the point right there. It's like seamless. It's like seamless, seamless, seamless. I'm always like, no, I'm just kidding. That's how I feel. I feel very clunky as an activist, and I'm like, sometimes. But also sometimes I'm like, I ate there, like I'm on period. But other times I'm like, ooh, because my my style is a little different. I'll put it to you that way. But no, I can appreciate different styles, but it's like, he's just really bad. So it's like I'm just gonna say something and then there's nothing. There's nothing there. Nothing. I
So
want to say too, just because I'm in an encouraging mood, Robin's doing good. I watched one of her members' videos and she was straight up Firefly at the end. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's doing it. She's learning. I was like, it made my activist heart beat for a second. It did.
thank you so much, but also leave me alone. Am I wrong, fat people? Like, am I
You are.
wrong? I don't think I am. I think it's pretty universal. But like, tell me. I do enjoy validation.
Okay,
I've
well,
been
I
getting
didn't
loads.
validate you, but that's it. I went on a long time. He took me to a lot of places, so I appreciate that, Martin. I do. I will talk to you guys later. I feel like this went on forever. I'm sorry. Also, and if you were like, oh my god, this is so long, but if you loved it, then I'm glad you loved it. Thank you for loving it. I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.